I never expected to hear those words, Dad, she set you up, a billionaire's heartbreaking truth. I will never forget the day everything fell apart. It started like any other Tuesday, but the air was heavy with something unspoken, a tension that prickled at my skin. My heart raced as I walked through the marble halls of our pristine mansion, adorned with polished portraits of my family. The golden frames shimmered under the light, but their beauty couldn't mask the darkness creeping into my life, and then I heard it. My daughter's voice, shaking like a leaf in the wind. Dad, she set you up. The words pierced through me, more painful than 1,000 knives. I stood there, frozen. My mind raced. Who had taken my trust and twisted it? My hands trembled as I recalled all the moments with her, the laughter, the love, the secrets we shared in whispers. Maddie, my sunshine, my reason to get out of bed, looked so small in that vast room. Her eyes, usually bright, were clouded with fear and frustration. I wanted to reach out, to comfort her, but the lump in my throat kept me silent. On the other side of the room stood Sarah, my wife. Her face, once a canvas of love, was now a pale mask. The woman I thought I knew so intimately was a stranger, her secrets unfolding like a dark storm that I could barely breathe as she gazed at me, her silence heavier than the silence that hung between us. How could it be possible? Who was behind this? My chest tightened with each passing second, the pain of betrayal wrapping around my heart like a vice. Memories flashed through my mind, the lavish parties, the sparkling champagne, the promises we made under the stars. Had it all been a lie? Maddie stepped closer, her voice barely above a whisper. Dad, I found texts between Mom and someone else. My stomach dropped. The weight of her words crashed over me like a tidal wave. The world around me blurred. Every laugh at the dinner table, every shared secret felt like a cruel joke now. My hands clenched into fists, the air turned thick with desperation, and I couldn't catch my breath. I turned away, needing distance, needing air, but all I felt was suffocation. What had I missed? What signs had been right in front of me? The endless smiles always felt genuine, but now I was drowning in doubt. Then, the door slammed open, and in came my brother, Jake. He had always been the fighter, the protector, and right then, he looked fierce. We need to get to the bottom of this, he said with a resolve that sent shivers down my spine. I nodded, even as panic swirled inside me. Who could I really trust? I felt the walls closing in, shadows lurking in corners of my mind, casting doubt on everything I had held dear. I could see the doubt in Jake's eyes too, and it terrified me. The fight was on, but who was fighting whom? As I stood there, between my daughter and my brother, caught in the plot of lies that tightened around us, I had to ask myself, what would I sacrifice to uncover the truth? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. The walls of our mansion had always felt like a fortress, but now they loomed like a prison. I could hardly hear the whispers of the world outside, dominated as they were by the chaos stirring within. Sarah's resolute silence pressed down on me, weighing heavier than any burden I had ever carried. With every passing moment, the realization of her betrayal sunk deeper into my bones, a poison that frayed my very essence. Maddie's hand gripped my arm as if she were afraid I might vanish into the ether, and in that moment, I mourned the father I had been, the protector, the hero. Dad, I'm scared, she confessed, her voice quaking. I don't want to lose you too. The tears glimmering in her eyes reflected my own torment. Listen to me, Maddie, I said, searching for the right words. I'm not going anywhere. We'll figure this out together. Even as I uttered the words, uncertainty gnawed at my heart. How could I promise her anything when I felt so lost, distracted and desolate, I followed Jake out to the sprawling terrace, craving the cool breeze to steady my racing thoughts. The night was alive with distant sounds, but the tranquility of the stars felt mocking against the storm churning inside me. "Are you okay?" Jake asked, his brow furrowed in concern. "I can't even begin to imagine what you're feeling. That I thought I knew her, Jake," I confessed, my voice a low murmur. "Everything we built, all those years, was it all just a facade?" Jake studied my face, the anguish in my eyes reflecting back his own dread. "Let's not jump to conclusions. We need to talk to her, get the truth straight from Sarah. Maybe this isn't what it seems," but my heart resisted, a stubborn child unwilling to heed the call of reason. "You don't understand. It's not just betrayal, it's everything we've shared. It's the life we imagined together. What if she really did set me up?" The words tumbled out, tinged with desperation. "Then we confront her." Jake's tone was unyielding, but in his eyes, I sensed a flicker of doubt. That we stood there, two brothers poised on the edge of a precipice, weighing the enormity of the truth against the comfort of denial. I glanced back inside, where Maddie remained, a quiet sentinel amidst the wreckage of my world. "Okay," I acquiesced reluctantly, "let's talk to her." As we returned inside, I caught a glimpse of Sarah. Her shoulders slumped as if she carried the weight of the world, and I could see the betrayal in her eyes, a reflection of my own hurt. "We need to talk," I said, my voice trembling with unresolved anger and fear. "Please, just listen to me." She raised her hands, pleading. It was then I realized how human she appeared, stripped of the armor she had worn so effortlessly before. "What's there to listen to?" I shot back, the bitterness spilling forth. "You've shattered everything. How can I trust you again?" Sarah's lips quivered as she began. "I never meant for any of this to happen. There are things I was forced into. I didn't want this." Before she could elaborate, Maddie's voice broke through like sunlight piercing the gloom. "You could have told us. You had a choice." "Choices are complicated, sweetheart," Sarah replied, her eyes softening as she looked at our daughter. "It's not always black and white. Trust me, I wanted to protect you both, protect us." I scoffed, feeling the anger surge like lava bubbling in a volcano. "This isn't protection, it's betrayal." But even as those words hung in the air, I felt their weight shift. Behind the anger, I sensed a flicker of hope, something that refused to die. Perhaps there was more to this story than I knew, maybe even a chance to understand. Yet, before I could voice that thought, the shrill ring of Maddie's phone pierced the tension. She fished it out, and I could see confusion dance across her face. "It's from an unknown number," she murmured, but before anyone could stop her, she answered, "Hello." Our eyes turned to her, anticipation thickening the air. "What do you mean you know who set him up?" Maddie's face paled as the voice on the other end continued. "Who are you? What do you know?" A chill swept through the room as she listened, her expression blanking out. "Wait, what? I don't understand, Maddie. Who is it?" I urged, sensing the gravity of the moment. Her gaze turned to me, fear etched deeply into her features. "Dad, they said there's something you need to know. Something about Mom." I took a step forward, each heartbeat pounding like a war drum in my chest. "What do you mean?" But all I could hear was the frantic rush of blood in my ears, drowning out the answers we so desperately sought, as a new layer of uncertainty descended over us like a thick fog. The room felt suffocating, every breath heavy with unspoken words and splintered trust. Maddie stood frozen, her phone pressed tightly to her ear, still grappling with the voice on the other end. I could see the pulse in her throat quickening as fear washed over her features. "Who?" I demanded, my voice coming out more strained than I intended. "Who set me up, Maddie? What did they say?" Her eyes flickered toward Sarah, then back to me, creating a bridge of tension between mother and daughter. I don't know, Dad. They just said they saw everything. They know Mom was involved. As if a switch had been flipped, Sarah surged forward, desperation etched in her face. "What are you talking about? This doesn't make any sense," but the voice on the other end of the cell phone continued, breathless and urgent. "You need to listen. Everything you think you know it's wrong. Sarah didn't just betray you, she was a pawn in a bigger game. Can you trust this person? Jake whispered, not taking his eyes off Maddie. I could see the worry etched over his brow, mirroring the turmoil within me. Maddie shook her head, voice trembling. I don't know. They said they want to help, but I don't tell them to meet me. Get details, I interjected, adrenaline coursing through my veins. The idea of clarity, of knowing, gripped me like a lifeline, pulling me away from the chaos threatening to drown me. That I don't think I should. Maddie protested. Maddie, I took a step closer to her, my voice earnest, this could be the truth we need. If Mom was trapped in something, if it's bigger than us, we have to know. Just get a name or a place. She hesitated, looking at me like a child battling a nightmare, her innocence hanging in the balance. Okay, but I don't want anyone to get hurt. As she relayed my urgency to the caller, I turned to Sarah, who appeared more shaken than I had ever seen. If what they're saying is true, you have to tell me everything. My voice dropped, strained by the weight of deception hanging between us. I need to know if I can trust you at all. I wanted to protect you, Sarah whispered, tears pooling in her eyes. I swear I never intended for you to find out this way. There are things you don't understand, things beyond your experience, things I can't understand. I shot back, my own pain spilling over. You didn't trust me enough to be honest. This is about my life, our family. You don't just sit back and let things happen. A choking silence enveloped us as the truth of my words hung heavy in the air. Each accusation felt like a wound gouged deeper, raw and exposed, and I could see the effect of my disdain cracking the very foundation of Sarah's facade. Maddie finally finished her call, her voice trembling. They want to meet tonight. Near the old pier, the one no one goes to anymore. She wrapped her fingers around her phone, glancing between us, the weight of their revelation crashing like waves around us. Now? I asked, eyeing the clock on the wall. It felt absurd to even consider it, yet a fierce current of determination surged within me. They said it was urgent, she replied, trembling. That if we don't act fast we're going, I decided. The three of us. We can't just leave this hanging in the air. But as we turned toward the door, I caught the telltale glimmer of fear in Sarah's eyes, a vulnerability that had become all too familiar. You can't, she implored, reaching out toward me. You don't know who we're dealing with. I withdrew instinctively, a chill settling over the room. Right now, none of us knows anything. Jake glanced at me, a question lingering silently. Are you sure this is the right move? No, I admitted, knowing full well the perilous path we were about to undertake, but the hunger for truth was an insatiable beast roaring within me. There was no other choice. I'm not sure of anything anymore. As we stepped out into the night, the moon hung like a silent observer above us, illuminating our path, but also the weight of darkness that cloaked the truths we were yet to uncover. Each step felt monumental, the air charged with possibility and the looming dread of what awaited us on that shore. Moments later, as we approached the pier, an unfamiliar figure stepped forward from the shadows, a silhouette against the shimmering water. My heart stuttered, a sudden realization crawling up my spine. This was no ordinary meeting. The figure's voice cut through the silence like a blade. I'm glad you came. We have a lot to talk about Sarah, about everything. And with that, the pieces of the puzzle I had been seeking began to shift ominously, danger hinting at every revelation waiting to unfold, the weight of my uncertainties pressing heavier than ever as the tide of secrets threatened to drown us all. With the moon casting a ghostly light over the water, the figures stepped forward, revealing themselves. It was a man, cloaked in a neatly tailored coat, a look of determination etched into his features, but there was also vulnerability beneath his poised exterior. My heart raced, each pulse fueled by a mix of dread and anticipation. Who was he, and how deeply was he intertwined in our unraveling lives? Maddie. Sarah, he acknowledged, his gaze piercing through the inky darkness. I need you both to stay close. What I have to tell you could change everything. That I stepped instinctively in front of Maddie, feeling the protective instinct swell deep within me. Start talking, I demanded, my voice a low rumble as fear and anger battled for supremacy. What do you know about my family? More than you think, he replied, a shadow of regret passing over his face. My name is David. I worked with your ex-wife, I should saw ya while back. She got caught up in something beyond her control. But you need to understand, she wasn't the villain she's been painted to be, not the villain. I scoffed, the laughter no longer resembling humor, and more like a bitter fog. She jeopardized everything. And now you expect me to just believe you? David took a step closer, his eyes earnest. You don't know the full story. Your family is at the center of a scheme that runs much deeper than any of you realize. It's manipulated by people you think you can trust. Maddie's fingers tightened around my arm. What do you mean? Are you saying she was trying to protect us? Yes, he confirmed, his voice steady despite the gathering tension. But that protection came at a cost. She got involved with the wrong people. They used her against you, turning her into a pawn in a game she couldn't escape. That I felt the air in my lungs constrict. You mean she was set up to betray me? But by whom? By the same forces that are after her now. Please, we need to move quickly. There are those who won't hesitate to silence anyone who knows too much. Your lives are all in danger. As the weight of his words settled, I could feel the horizon of my reality beginning to tilt. Suddenly, a pall of uncertainty gripped me. I shifted my gaze to Sarah, whose expression was pained and conflicted. You didn't even tell me this was the truth, I said, my frustration boiling. You kept saying you were protecting me. How could you? I thought I was protecting you. She exclaimed, her voice cracking. It was easier to keep you out of it. You would have done something reckless. And I can't lose you, not now, not after everything. David didn't let the divergence in our focus distract him. That's exactly what they're counting on. Manipulative tactics meant to keep you divided. You need to understand that the pressure being placed on your family has roots that stretch deeper than betrayal. They're after something far more valuable than a simple lie. What, like money? I spat, my anger wavering between fear and fury. No, not just money. Power, he replied simply, his gaze unwavering. If they can drive a wedge between you, turn you against each other, they can take everything from you. What they want is your ability to fight back. They fear your unity. That I glanced around, my heart pounding against the impending chaos that loomed ever closer. What do we do? Trust each other. David leaned in closer, lowering his voice as if the very shadows gathered around us had ears. And don't underestimate the strength you hold as a family. If you can unite, perhaps you can turn this situation around before it's too late. Just as I opened my mouth to respond, a chilling sound sliced through the night, the unmistakable crunch of footsteps on gravel. My heart leaped into my throat as I turned to see a car creeping slowly around the pier's edge, headlights cutting through the darkness like searching spears. David's eyes widened, and he instinctively guided us backward. We need to go. Now, but before I could process what was happening, a voice I recognized boomed through the night, betraying a deep-seated betrayal I had not anticipated. There you are. I was hoping we would cross paths again. It was a tone I could not mistake. It belonged to Kieran, my former business partner. A man I had once trusted without question. And yet here he stood, a figure risen from the ashes of past illusions, now cloaked in threat. The game is close to its end, and you should have known better than to play. Each shocking revelation dawned heavy on my conscience, settling like a thick fog I couldn't escape. The tension escalated, threatening to unravel in ways I could not anticipate, leaving me standing at the precipice of an unimaginable storm, navigating treacherous waters that were only just beginning to churn. The betrayal, the danger, and the uncertainty clouded my vision, leaving me teetering on the edge, desperate for answers in a world spiraling into chaos. A cold wind swept off the water, wrapping around us like a shroud as the unsettling presence of Kieran lurked in the shadows, his eyes glittering with predatory satisfaction. The gravel crunched louder beneath our feet as he stepped further into the light, revealing a face that had once been a mirror reflecting unwavering loyalty, a face now warped by malevolence. That I felt it then, the weight of potential loss pressing into my chest like a vice. What do you want, Kieran? I demanded, trying to keep my voice steady amid the rising tide of panic. With a smug smirk dancing on his lips, he tilted his head, making the shadows play tricks on his features. "Oh, come on, Daniel. You must know by now that this isn't a matter of personal desire. It's business." He took another step closer, broadening the space he occupied, as if he were an invisible wall that was ready to block my escape. "Business?" My laughter erupted from a dark pit of disbelief. "This is about family. You've torn everything apart, family." He echoed, his tone dripping with derision. "Family can be just as useful as a chess piece. If you had kept your enemies closer." He paused deliberately. "Maybe none of this would have happened." Anger ignited within me, burning away the swirling fog of confusion. "What have you done?" "Let's just say your lovely ex-wife made a deal," Kieran replied, his voice dripping with venom. "And now the price is due. She thought she could play the game alone, but you see, Daniel, playing against me is a lethal mistake." Maddie squeezed my arm, her palpable fear igniting my protective instincts. "You don't have to listen to him, Dad. He's lying." "No, Maddie," Kieran interrupted, his voice steely and sharp. "Do you really think he's capable of protecting you? You're in way over your heads." "Shut up." I shot back, disbelief morphing into fury as I felt the world around me spinning eerily. "Why are you doing this? Is it power? Revenge? Did you ever care at all?" At that moment, David broke in, desperation escalating in his voice. "Kieran, this isn't what you promised. You're crossing lines. That enough." Kieran's voice boomed, slicing through the fraying strands of reason. "Daniel, I wouldn't worry too much about him. The truth is, the clock is ticking. Your time is limited." He feasted on my confusion, relishing the turmoil he had injected into our lives. Every word sent a shiver down my spine, but in the depths of my turmoil, I sought a way to lift the clouds of despair. "You're wrong about my family," I declared, shaking off my initial shock. "We're stronger than you think. We've endured too much to back down now." Kieran merely shrugged, as he prepared his next move. "Strength is nothing without strategy." He stepped back, assessing me with his calculating gaze. "I'll give you one chance, Daniel. You let me take control of this mess, your mess, and I won't involve the authorities. But refuse, and I'm afraid the next time you see your ex-wife, it would be in the bottom of a lake." That a biting chill ran through me, colliding with a wave of unexpected grief. There it was, the painful reality of the risk Kieran placed upon our family, exacerbating my own regrets about the estrangement from Sarah. In that moment, I glimpsed a possibility, a thread of hope amongst the impending dread. But just as I opened my mouth to articulate my thoughts, a shout pierces the thick veil of night. "Dad!" I turned sharply, only to see Sarah running toward us from the access road, breathless and frantic, fear etched into her features. "You have to help me. They know they—" Kieran interjected, his voice raising a wicked note of curiosity, eyes glinting now with malicious glee. "You see, Daniel. She's made mistakes without even knowing the consequences." As Sarah reached me, she stumbled, her breath hitching as she sought refuge at my side. "They're coming. They're going to take me, too." The panic radiated off her, and I instinctively threw an arm around her shoulders, feeling her tremors translate into my own heartbeat. I locked eyes with David, who was enraged at Kieran's callousness, and we understood in a moment, we were now all in this. "Together, keep her safe," David whispered urgently, drawing closer as Kieran's taunts echoed in the background. But before I could respond, a dark figure emerged from the depths behind Kieran, their intentions masked by the night. I squinted, my heart racing, as the metallic glint of a weapon flashed in their hand. "Dad! Watch out!" Maddie screamed, her protective instincts kicking in as she moved to confront the newcomer. The world spiraled into chaos, leaving the turbulence of emotion and uncertainty festering in my chest. Kieran looked momentarily startled but quickly regained his composure, his smile morphing into a twisted expression of triumph. One thing became unbearable clear: we were running out of time, and whatever hopes I held for family unification were now taking new forms amidst the swirling shadows. With the game shifting further into darkness, one question remained: Were we strong enough to uncover the truth before it unraveled everything we had fought to hold on to? The air weighed heavy with the tension of the moment, the biting chill mingling with the dread tightening its grip around my chest. Maddie's warning echoed relentlessly, a mantra of impending peril. My heart raced as I refocused my gaze on the newcomer, a silhouette lurking just beyond Kieran's shadow. The metallic gleam in their hand seemed to glow ominously under the dim light, every second stretching into eternity that I couldn't let fear claw away at the fragile strength we managed to muster. "Everyone, move back!" I barked, bracing myself protectively in front of Sarah and Maddie, my instincts roaring to life. David approached my side, ready to back me up, his pledges of loyalty crystallizing in the heat of our shared panic. Kieran's smirk faltered, for the first time, uncertainty flickered behind his eyes. "What a sad sight," he taunted, his voice dripping with a sickening sense of glee. "Is this what you've become, Daniel? A mere shadow of your former self?" "A coward, this isn't just about me anymore, Kieran," I replied through clenched teeth. "You've dragged them into this mess." The stakes were higher than anyone could comprehend. The balance of power shifted precariously. If I faltered now, it wouldn't just be my downfall. Suddenly, the figures stepped forward, their features partially illuminated in the moonlight. I strained my eyes, desperate to decipher their identity. A familiar silhouette, fear surged through me like a tidal wave. "No," I murmured, scarcely believing what was happening. "This can't be Daniel." Sarah cried, her voice breaking, echoing the horror I felt in my gut. The dark figure, cloaked in shadows yet unmistakably revealing a hint of betrayal, was none other than Aaron, my former colleague, the one who had once stood by my side in boardrooms and brainstorming sessions. "You need to listen to me." I was set up, Kieran cackled with delight, the sound piercing the frigid air. "See? The puppet has finally come to cut its strings. Do you really think the truth he offers will absolve him? Or better yet, protect you, Aaron, explain." I shouted amidst the chaos, a storm of conflicting emotions brewing within me. "What do you mean set up?" The tormented expression on Aaron's face softened with a blend of fear and urgency, his eyes flickering from Kieran to me. "I didn't know it'd go this far, Daniel. They approached me, coerced me. They used my connection to get to you. Who are they?" I pressed, desperation ranching my tone. "Tell me, now." My hands were tied. It was they promised me protection, they wanted to ignite a power struggle, to manipulate Kieran from the shadows, he stammered, the tremor in his voice exposing a frail resolve. "Enough of this charade." Kieran's voice boomed, slicing through our exchange. "Daniel, your time is running short. You can't protect him or her, you will only wind up like your ex-wife trapped in a mess beyond your control." The word struck like cold steel. The truth was a dual-edged sword, and for a fleeting moment, doubt crept through my defenses. My mind raced, torn between the flickering hope that Aaron wasn't simply a harbinger of more chaos and the dread of confronting betrayal on multiple fronts. Maddie, her eyes wide with fear, clutched my arm. "Dad, we can't just stand here. We have to get her out." Her words snapped me back to our reality, and I realized all at once that we were being suffocated by Kieran's darkness. "Aaron," I breathed, "you have to help us. How can we turn this around?" His gaze wavered, glancing at the weapon trained on us. "You need to get Sarah and Maddie to safety first." "Fine, Drew, I trust him, he'll know what to do." Just then, a soft rumble vibrated through the ground beneath us, an ominous reminder that the peril lurked closer than we thought. I felt the lurking shadows of Kieran's gaucheness crouching behind the syllables of every threat. "Don't be naive." Kieran mocked, the smile lingering on his lips like poison. "Even with that pitiful plan, you won't escape unharmed. This is my game, and I've already won." In a flash, Aaron lunged toward me, placing himself between the dark figure and my family. "I won't let them take you," he shouted, his resolve ignited. At that moment, I saw not just betrayal but the flicker of an unexpected ally fighting against the inevitable. "Run!" he yelled just as the figure lunged. Chaos spiraled around us, and time slowed as the warning reverberated in my mind that we had to survive this together. I grabbed Maddie's hand, urging her and Sarah to back away just as the hunter's intent became cruelly apparent. As we spun to run, a shattering sound erupted, piercing through the night and sending my heart plummeting. A collective gasp followed, and when I turned back, I was met with the haunting sight of Aaron dropping quickly to the ground, the glimmer of betrayal morphing into stark reality. "Dad!" Maddie screamed, the world around us crumbling into an abyss of despair and treachery. I fought against the tides of panic threatening to sweep us all away. Time had become a relentless enemy, and I stood on the precipice of losing everything and everyone I had ever fought for. The question gnawed at me as I held my family close: how could I protect them from the returning storm, especially when the shadows bore the faces of people I once trusted, and for the first time, I feared that betrayal might slip through my fingers like sand, leaving only sorrow behind. The night was shrouded in chaos, voices blending into a cacophony of panic as the shadows deepened around us. Kieran's sinister laughter echoed in the distance, blending with Maddie's cries, filling the air with a sense of impending doom that threatened to suffocate me. I felt the agonizing weight of despair pressing down on my chest, squeezing out the last vestiges of hope. It wasn't just Aaron collapsed on the ground. It felt as if my very spirit had been shattered, the remnants scattering like ashes in the wind. "Maddie, stay with us." I barked, but my voice came out more like a strained whisper. Sarah was shaking, her wide eyes searching mine for assurance that everything would be okay. I wanted to find that strength for her, to tell her that we would navigate this murky darkness together. But the gaping wound in my heart made it hard to breathe, hard to think. Aaron had once been my friend, my ally. The thought that he had been ensnared in this treachery, perhaps even more than I realized, tasted like bile in my throat. "Help him," Maddie begged, glancing back at Aaron, who lay motionless. For a heartbeat, I felt the ground beneath my feet tremble with an urgency that matched the wild beating of my heart. "No. We have to go," I pleaded, my instincts screaming at me. "If we don't get you and Sarah to safety," a loud crack interrupted my words, a violent reminder that danger was relentless. The bond one shared with my girls was a fragile thread, one I'd be damned if I allowed to fray now. "Run. Don't look back." Maddie hesitated, glancing between Aaron and me. "But now, Maddie. Please." The fear in her eyes sharpened my resolve, propelling her forward. I felt her small hand slip away from me, a phantom touch that both ignited and terrified me. I pushed Sarah ahead of me as we sprinted through the thin veil of trees beyond the clearing, my heart pounding with the desperate rhythm of survival. Branches whipped against my skin, stinging and biting, but I forged ahead. What loomed behind us was a darkness I didn't dare to confront. But dread knotted itself deep within my gut, every stride a reminder of my own helplessness. How could I just leave him there? He had warned me, tried to protect us, and I had failed him. We stumbled into a small grove, the moonlight filtering through the leaves to cast patterns on the ground, a brief sanctuary from the chaos. I bent low, gripping my knees, panting hard, the adrenaline raging while my mind spiraled, haunted by Aaron's last words. Find Drew. Who was Drew? Had I ever even met him? I want to go back. Maddie's voice tremored, raw with the weight of her panic. No. I snapped, forcing myself to take a breath. We can't. We need to make sure you're safe first. I promise we'll find a way back. The fear in her eyes stung harder than any blow. What if he'll be fine? I lied, wishing beyond reason that my empty words could summon reality to my side, that Aaron would somehow rise from the dust and rejoin our fight. We have to protect each other, remember? Sarah pulled Maddie closer, wrapping her arms protectively around her sister, their trust in me condensed into this moment. I could see the growing worry on Sarah's face, a manifestation of my own fears reflected back at me. I yearned to shield them, to be the fortress they needed, yet the inescapable sense of impending betrayal loomed like a cloud ready to burst. A whisper of hope flickered in the undercurrent of my panic, a tiny ember hidden beneath layers of dread. I recalled the laughter we'd shared before the storm, the moments where everything seemed perfect. In that brief time, we were more than just survivors, we were a family, unbreakable, even against the odds. Help is on the way, I stammered, willing the universe to hear my silent prayer. Drew will come through. Before I could shake the insidious doubt worming its way into my heart, a rustle in the brush sent icy fingers of fear crawling up my spine. I turned, heart racing once more, prepared for the worst. That a figure emerged, drenched in shadows, and just as I opened my mouth to scream a warning, I recognized her. Alana. My hands clenched into fists. How could she be here? Images of betrayal played out in my mind, a jigsaw puzzle I didn't want to confront. Daniel. She gasped, breathless but determined. You need to listen. They're coming. Kieran knows you're here, but why are you here? I shot back, anger spurring my words. How can I trust you? You're supposed to be on his side. She stepped closer, the tension palpable. Wasn't I? Her voice cracked. I thought I could help. I'm not like him. In that moment, my heart wavered, caught between the threads of loyalty and fear, spiraling into uncertainty. Help? I challenged wearily. After everything, Daniel, please, she implored, her eyes flicking nervously to the darkness surrounding us. You need me if you want to save them. I can help you reach Drew. Save who? A voice, too familiar, too painful. Kieran stepped from the shadows, the victorious smirk returning, darkening the fragile hope Alana had tried to kindle. That I felt my insides twist as I faced down the deepest betrayal, the realization breaking over me like a wave. Drew is gone, isn't he? Kieran's laughter rang like thunder, an echoing reminder that the fragility of trust was lost in a world where the shadows coiled tightly with deceit. Hope had transformed into cruel mockery, and my family was slipping deeper into a storm far beyond my control. As despair loomed larger, my resolve began to shift. I might not be able to save Aaron, drive Kieran into the shadows, or trust anyone fully, but if I had any chance to protect my daughters I would fight with everything I had. Get back. I shouted, my heart pounding defiantly against the burgeoning darkness, the weight of uncertainty shifting the horizon I faced, and just like that, the storm returned, thicker and more menacing, promising that this was only the beginning of a battle that threatened to shatter everything I believed. The night threatened to unravel, the cold air wrapping around me like a shroud as Kieran's presence deepened the shadows. My heart raced, fear coursing through my veins. I fought to keep my footing, to hold on to the shards of courage that remained. Step away from her, Kieran. My voice shook, but the fire within me ignited, pushing back against the despair that wanted to drown me. Kieran stepped closer to Alana, an insidious grin stretching across his face as he drew nearer. Oh, Daniel, you really don't understand the game we're playing, do you? Your little family, your quaint notions of loyalty, they're all just pieces on my board. And right now, I have all the control. Alana flinched as he reached out, attempting to ensnare her with his dark aura. Don't, she whispered, stepping back instinctively. Poor Alana, Kieran mocked. Caught in the web of your own mistakes. You thought you could play hero, but you only have one path left. That I felt the bitterness rise in my throat as Alana's eyes locked onto mine, pleading and fearful. I remembered the warmth we once shared, her laughter echoing in brighter times before betrayal cast a shadow. Daniel, she breathed, I can still help you. I promise, I'm not the enemy here. There's no way I can believe you now, I spat, fury and heartache colliding inside me. You sided with him. How could you do that? After everything we've been through, because you wouldn't listen. You were too stubborn. She took a step closer, her voice trembling with urgency. Kieran manipulated me. I thought I could protect you from the truth. He's dangerous, Daniel. The dawning realization hit me like a thunderclap. In her struggle to shield me, she had inadvertently shackled herself to my enemies. I strained against the choking hold of despair, feeling the weight of my daughters behind me. They were scared, clinging to hope that their father could still protect them. Then tell me the truth, Alana. I urged, desperation creeping into my voice. What do you know about Drew? What is Kieran planning? Kieran laughed, a sound so menacing it sent chills racing up my spine. Ah, the truth is a slippery beast, isn't it? You think understanding will save you, but it will only send you spiraling. Shut up! I roared, memories flooding back, drowning me in panic times I had trusted blindly when it meant the world was at stake. I couldn't let this demon tear apart the only thing I cherished. Daniel, Alana's voice softened. Drew, he was more tangled in this than you know. Kieran, he's been watching you and the girls. He didn't just take Aaron, it's bigger. Drew, he knew Kieran's plans, and the tremor in her voice fueled deep-rooted dread. Kieran was never just looking to control you, he wants to erase everyone connected to you. A cacophony of emotions swirled within me, terror for Aaron, for Maddie and Sarah, and for the fragile hope left in my heart filled the air around us like static. For a moment, everything around us faded, and I was left alone with the stark truth of love twisted into betrayal. Enough. Kieran commanded, his voice slicing through the tension. Alana, give up. You know it's over, but Alana squared her shoulders, facing him defiantly. No. Daniel, just listen. Kieran's eyes flared with anger. Stop this. Daniel, I swear. Kieran's plans don't only affect you. They'll come for Maddie and Sarah. We need to leave now, we don't have time. Just then, through the underbrush behind Kieran, I saw the faint outline of something moving, a figure on the edge of the shadows, flickering like a flame poised to go out. My heart seized at the thought of another enemy, yet the urgency clawing at my insides wouldn't allow me to falter. Maddie, Sarah, stay close. I called out, instinctively putting myself between them and the ominous darkness. Dad, look. Maddie gasped, her voice trembling beside me. I turned to see not just shadows shift but an unexpected figure step through the veil within the grove. A woman, shrouded in fabric as dark as the night but with a face shimmering in the moonlight. My heart raced as recognition surged through me. No, it can't be, Daniel. Her voice was achingly familiar. I'm here to help. Everything I had feared rushed forward. This was someone I'd long believed lost to me. Kara. I spoke her name like a prayer, heart pounding in my chest, hope and dread mixing like braids of a frayed rope. You're alive, what is she doing here? Kieran demanded, anger radiating off him as he turned, momentarily distracted. Time runs thin, Kara pressed, her expression both fierce and sorrowful. I came as soon as I found out. You have to trust me, we don't have much time. Everything you've done. I growled, anger mixing with bewilderment. How dare you show up now, acting like you care? Alana moved slowly, pressing closer to my side. They're waiting for us, Daniel. Kieran will crush that flicker of hope from before it has a chance to ignite. Fight with me, but all my emotions collided in that moment, the sweet comfort of hope wielding the potential of resurrection clashing with a lifetime of bitterness and betrayal. Before I could respond, Kieran's laughter filled the air again, mocking me, taunting me. You truly are delusional, Daniel. It's over for all of you. With that, shadows danced in the grove, the peril intensifying like the thunderstorm looming overhead. I contemplated how evidently fragile hope was now. It flickered dimly in the face of darkness threatening to extinguish completely. Go! I yelled, refusing to let despair sink its claws any deeper into my heart. Get them out of here. We scrambled to move, to escape, but I could feel the tightening noose of Kieran's malevolence closing in around us. As I glanced back at Alana and Maddie, I realized with a chilling certainty that the battle was far from over. From deep within the shadows, a sinister voice echoed, intertwining threats and promises, sending shivers down my spine. They will regret this. And then, without warning, the ground trembled beneath us, and in the flickers of panic, I stood, tears gathering in the corners of my eyes as I muttered a silent prayer, aware that our lives teetered on the edge of catastrophe. The only thing clearer than the chaos that swirled around us was the sheer intimacy of this truth that our fight was just beginning, and betrayal had come from places I never expected. As we fled through the tangled foliage, each hurried step felt like a betrayal of the breath I drew in. Kieran's lingering laughter followed us, wrapping tightly around my heart, the haunting echo amplifying the urgency of the moment. My mind raced, desperately fighting back the memories of all the times I had trusted, had chosen to believe, only to be let down. Maddie, I said, glancing at my youngest, whose wide eyes shimmered with unshed tears. Hold on to your sister. Don't let her out of your sight. I want, Dad, she promised, but her voice cracked, the fear evident. I could feel the weight of the moment, the decision to embrace hope or hide from it, coiling tightly around me. Daniel, we need to go. Alana urged, her eyes darting toward the darkening sky above. The clouds churned ominously, echoing the turmoil in my mind that I can't just leave you behind again. The words ripped from my throat, bitter and raw. Not again. Her gaze softened, cutting through the storm of emotion between us. It's not about leaving me. It's about saving them. We need to get the girls out of here first. Kieran isn't the only obstacle we have to worry about. If what he says is true, the weight of her implication crashed over me, pushing me deeper into the suffocating fog of dread. What if other threats lurked in this nightmare? I faced her. I can't lose anyone else. That's why you have to trust Kara, Alana pleaded, her voice breaking slightly. Her appearance here is a glimmer of hope we can't ignore. As I turned, Kara was already leading the way, her demeanor calm and focused. Her movements were fluid, betraying the grace of someone who had seen how quickly things could unravel. For a moment, I marveled at her presence, buried feelings of disbelief clashing with desperate hope. What do you know, Kara? I called out, pushing myself forward to level with her. You've been gone, and now you come back. I know more than I can tell you, but right now we need to prioritize your safety. She paused, breathing deeply. Daniel, I've uncovered things. Kieran has planned horrifying truths that bind us all together. A chill darted through my spine. The pain of the past, pain centering on what was lost, what I had once thought was safe now hovered dangerously close. You can't just bait me with mysteries. I need answers. Kara turned, meeting my eyes. I'll explain everything, but we have to keep moving. There was a resolute determination in her voice, and although I strained against the tide of memories, recognizing a spark of loyalty I had once cherished, uncertainty gnawed at me. A rustle behind me sent my senses into overdrive. We halted abruptly, the rustling grew louder. I instinctively placed my back against Alana, shielding my girls as if my body was a fragile fortress against impending doom. Maddie, Sarah, step back. I growled, ready to protect them no matter the cost. But from the edge of the looming shadows, another figure emerged. Another child. Are you okay? She called out, panic lacing her tone. Who are you? I called out, forcing my voice to remain steady. I am Lily, she stammered, pressing through the branches with an urgency that sent alarm bells ringing in my head. Please, I saw what he did to your son. Kieran, he's been watching you all. A heavy weight dropped in my stomach, knowing the ramifications of the betrayal that tethered us together. Where is Aaron? What do you know? Please, Lily whispered, tears spilling across her cheeks. He's gone to the safe house, but he isn't safe there either. Kieran meant to lure you all out. He never wanted you to be here. All the air left my lungs, replaced by the suffocating grip of fear as dread clawed at my throat. What do you mean? What safe house? Lily shook her head, her frustration evident as she clutched her arms tight, a reflection of the turmoil roiling within. Kieran, he set it all up. He wanted you to believe you could take Aaron back, to trap you when you came for him. He didn't just take your son, he used him. The world spun, and memories flashed before my eyes, the moments of joy and laughter I had shared with Aaron. Now laced with a horrifying truth that turned my stomach. How could Kieran have orchestrated such a sinister plan? He set you up. Lily's words rang like church bells, harsh, undeniable. No. I protested, shaking my head as if the movement could wipe away the words. I've already lost too much. Kara stepped forward, the intensity in her gaze pulling me back from the chasm of despair. We can still save him, Daniel. But we need to act quickly. Kieran's grip is only tightening, and we can't let fear paralyze us. With that, the weight of every decision fell back onto my shoulders, pushing me into the dark unknown, a choice echoed by the shadows just beyond our sight. It was then I understood that fear was nothing compared to the pain of loss. "Let's move," I said, forcing my voice to hold steady. "We're not going to lose anyone else." That we dashed forward, but as my heart pounded against my chest, an ominous growl rumbled through the silence around us. I looked back at Lily, her expression one of sheer horror, and I realized the darkness had risen once more, reminding us all that despair was never far behind, and as we ran, fear intertwined with the hope we grasped, knowing one wrong turn could spell disaster for all of us. The air was thick with the weight of desperation as we fled deeper into the shadows, an unsettling reminder that while the night belonged to the dark, our resolve would carry us forward. The panic in Maddie's voice still echoed in my ears, her fragile faith in my ability to protect her urging me to press on. "Dad, we have to find Aaron," she insisted, her small hand gripping mine with fierce tenacity. "That I'm trying, baby," I replied, my heart aching with the burden of unanswered questions. "But first, we need to get you and Sarah to safety." Kara turned to me, her face illuminated by flashes of moonlight piercing through the trees. "Daniel, Kieran knows we're on his tail. We need a plan, and we need to move fast." "Do you have a plan?" Alana interjected urgently, her gaze darting back toward the path we had come, as if she could sense the menace pursuing us. "I do," Kara said, firm and sure. "We need to reach the abandoned warehouse at the edge of town. I have a contact there, someone who knows the inner workings of Kieran's scheme and can help us navigate this mess. It's our best shot at saving Aaron." Each word resonated, weaving strands of hope alongside the gnarled threads of despair I had been clutching for far too long. "All right," I agreed, recalling every fragment of strength left in me. "Lead the way." As we sprinted through the undergrowth, my thoughts circled back to Aaron, his laughter echoing like a ghost in my mind. I couldn't shake the guilt gnawing at me for leaving him behind. The fight wasn't just for Maddie and Sarah, it extended to him as well. My heart clenched at the thought of losing anyone else. Just as we reached a clearing, a loud crack from behind sent us skidding to a halt. "What was that?" Maddie asked, voice quivering, her eyes wide with fear. "Stay close," I whispered, adrenaline coursing through my veins. But just as I spoke, a familiar figure stepped into the moonlight. "Daniel," he gasped, breathless. "I couldn't let you leave without knowing. Kieran's men are on the move. They're closing in. Where's Aaron?" I demanded, the urgency intertwining despair with determined resolve. David hesitated, a darkness clouding his features. "I tried to reach him, but Kieran's operations are wider than I thought. Two think he's at the safe house still. But if we go there now, what? What did Kieran do?" I pressed, my fists clenching with the pressing weight of burgeoning rage. "He's been collecting leverage against you," David continued, shame flushing his voice. "He sent someone you know to watch over Aaron. He's monitoring everyone who comes near, convincing them you would destroy them if they spoke out." Kieran's manipulative web was far-reaching, and every betrayal stung like a venomous snake bite. "You've got to be kidding me," I scoffed, disbelief flooding my chest. "That we don't have time for this." Alana snapped, urgency redirecting her anger. "We need to commit to rescuing Aaron and protecting each other now. David, you can help us decide which side you're on." "I am on your side," he insisted fervently. "But I can't go back. Kieran is using the people I thought were allies against me, against you. We can't let him win." "Then help us reach that warehouse," I managed, my heart leaping for hope against the tide of darkness. "You know the way," David nodded, direction flickering in his eyes. "We can take a route through the old rail yard. It's safer and will allow us distance from Kieran's men." We surged forward, with David leading the way. The shadows of the night pressed ever closer, the air charged with an unease that sent a shiver down my spine. My thoughts constantly looped back to Aaron, picturing him trapped and frightened, likely wondering if I would come. Would I? I was desperate to save him but felt my heart falter with the burden of uncertainty. When we finally arrived at the rail yard, the horror of reality loomed larger. We huddled together, catching our breaths. The only sound was the distant clattering of a train echoing like a distant heartbeat. "Please, just let me go back," Maddie begged, her voice small and broken. I can't do this without Aaron. I need him. I know, sweet girl, I reassured her, kneeling to meet her gaze. But joining him without a plan puts all of us at risk. I promise you, we're going to find a way to bring him back. You're stronger than you realize, she nodded, though uncertainty lingered in her eyes. In that moment, I could see how deeply this wound had cut her. Just don't get hurt again, Dad. I can't lose you too. Feeling the warmth of her small hand clutching mine, I felt a flicker of strength ignite within me. You won't. I promise you that. We began to move further through the yard, every sound causing my heart to leap in my chest. I was ready for a fight, ready to face any adversary that sought to tear my family apart. I'd lost too much already. As we reached the edge of the yard, movement caught my attention. A decaying old train shone in the dim light, its hollow shell enveloping a sense of mystery. David, is there an entrance? A way in? I asked, my voice steady. There's a side door, but it's neglected and likely sealed. Still, it's worth checking, he responded, confidence brimming in his tone. Then let's get in. I replied, adrenaline propelling my steps as I pushed forward, guided by hope and fear in equal measure. We stepped cautiously into the husk of the car, darkness enveloping us like a shroud. The scent of rust and decay struck me, but entwined within was the unyielding resolve to uncover the truth, to battle against the encroaching shadow of Kieran. Daniel, David whispered, drawing near. Something's not right here. It feels too quiet. As if answering his sentiment, a loud bang reverberated through the air outside, followed by the unmistakable sounds of footsteps closing in. I turned to the others, panic igniting as realization struck that our window of opportunity was closing. They're coming. I hissed, the instinct to shield my family kicking into overdrive. Maddie, stand next to Sarah. Do you have your phone? Call for help if you can, right? I will. She promised urgently, scurrying to her sister's side, body taut with tension. Kara turned to me, uncertainty flickering in her eyes. What do we do? The pounding footsteps grew louder, growing ever closer, threatening to envelop us in malice. I glanced back, setting my jaw. We face them together. Whatever happens, stay close and trust each other. Daniel, look. David gestured toward a window at the other end of the car, a sliver of light cutting through the darkness. The exit. In that moment of urgency, I felt a flicker of clarity hit me like an unexpected breeze, reinforcing everything I had learned along the way. We move on 3, I instructed, gauging Maddie and Sarah. 1, 2, 3, with that, we bolted toward the light source, shadows pursuing us like vultures circling their prey. The air vibrated around us, filled with the heavy weight of impending confrontation. Just as we reached the window, a sudden shout erupted behind us, the voice unmistakably Kieran's, laced with venomous delight. You'll never escape. No one can save you now, not even your precious family. I pressed on, fueled by fury and fear of losing everything I cherished. Climbing through the window, I pulled my daughters through first, ensuring their safety before turning back to aid Alana and Kara. Daniel. There's still time to turn back. Kieran's taunting echoed through the ominous shadows, but I had ignored him far too long. No chance, I growled, as I helped Alana through the window and followed Kara behind, adrenaline coursing through my increasingly weary body. As we hit the ground outside, the harshness of reality gripped us tight. I glanced back to see Kieran emerging from the car, fury dominating his features as he tracked us. You have no idea what you've just unleashed. He howled, every syllable dripped with venom. We're not afraid of you. I declared, emotion surging through me, embering the resolve within me as the shadows threatened to claw back. I turned to my girls, who held on tightly to one another, courage flickering in their eyes. Kieran's features warped, displaying pure malevolence as he stepped closer. Don't you see? Betrayal goes both ways, and you trusted the wrong people. The poison of his words tangled in my stomach, a reminder of past insecurities. I could feel the dark pit of despair threatening to engulf me, each moment steeped in palpable dread. No, I replied firmly, summoning every ounce of strength, remembering all the love that had propelled me this far. I won't let you tear us apart. The shadows writhed around us as I braced for confrontation, ready to face this darkness head-on. I had to fight for the family I loved, to reclaim everything we had lost, and then, just as defeat threatened to close around me, I felt something stir within the chaotic storm brewing. It was hope, a fierce, unwavering hope burrowing deep within my heart. This was not a battle I would lose. "Let's go!" I shouted, feeding my determination and knowing we wouldn't back down. We were stronger together than divided, and it was that unity that would shield us from the darkness that we raced through the yard, hearts pounding, minds steeling against danger, all the while driven by the love that had withstood the worst in life. As we dashed toward the illuminated path beyond the shadows, I held on to the belief that we would reclaim what mattered most, our unity amidst the chaos. Every step was a testament to our resilience, a declaration that we would not be broken, and as the moon shone overhead, we forged ahead into the unknown together.